Hi everyone, it's Shari Carroll for SimonsStamp.com, and I have an alcohol inking technique using the Simon brand inks, and I've learned this from Wendy Vecchi. Also, I wanted to show you my inspiration for this card. I found this silk arrangement of hydrangeas, and it's actually a napkin holder that I found at Pier 1 Imports in the clearance section, but I really love the colors, so I've picked out some ink colors that I thought would kind of create this same color combination to create this background. I'm also using the Ranger specialty stamping paper for this technique because it works really well with the alcohol. And for this technique, I'm using just regular rubbing alcohol. I've put it in a bottle that has a nice little lid to it that I can just go ahead and squirt it out. So I'm starting off with the willow ink, and I've just scribbled that onto my craft sheet. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of alcohol to that. I'll kind of mix this together with my finger right onto that craft sheet. And I'm just going to start building up layers of color. So at first I'll just go ahead and start with the green or that willow color and just start dabbing my paper right into that. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit, but I'll keep talking and walk you through that. So once I had my first color down, I went in with my second color, which is Lake Shores, which is a nice light blue. And the more alcohol that you use, the lighter colors you'll have, but you do want to create a nice mixture so that it flows onto that paper. So right now it's pretty wet and it's pretty faded, but I'm going to go ahead and continue to build some color. So the next color I'm using is Wisteria, which is a really nice pale purple. And I'll go ahead and start kind of putting that in the corners and a little bit at the bottom. It's looking a little bit light right now, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and try to move some of this ink around and add yet another color. And this one is Cloudy Sky. It's a little bit darker blue, but it will start fading into those other colors, and they kind of counteract each other as you put them down like alcohol inks would, so you get that kind of marbled effect right away. As I'm drying that, I did use a little bit of paper towel and kind of blotted up some color, and my final color is Rosy Cheeks, which is a really nice pink, and this will add a little bit of contrast, and it'll also mix in with that green and give me a little bit of kind of a natural brown color. Okay, so I've added a bit more color, and now I'm going to go ahead and drip some alcohol straight onto my paper, and this makes the ink move around and create even a more marbled effect. This is a really fun technique to try, especially if you like to experiment around a little bit like I do. So finding out how the colors interact with each other is one of the fun things to do, and adding that alcohol on top to get additional effects. Now that I have all of my ink on my background, I thought I'd pull this up with my flower, and I think I pretty much nailed it with the colors to get that same effect. Next, I want to add my message strip, and I'm using my Misty here with my little broken magnets, and I am using my anti-static bag just in the area where I'm going to be stamping. And I'm using the Simons Stamp clear ink, which you can use for clear and white embossing as well as a watermark ink. So I've inked that up really well. I'm going to go ahead and close the lid of my Misty and press that down. And once I have that stamped on, I can go ahead and get ready to do my white embossing. I'll be creating a resist for my little tag here, and so I want to do some white embossing, and then I'll be using my flag die cut and cut that out, and then I can go ahead and color my paper. So I'm just adding my white embossing powder right to the area where I stamped, and then make sure that I have it all on there before I go to heat set it. And I like to use my Milwaukee gun for this. It's really nice and hot, and that's my preferred heat tool for doing my embossing. So once I heated that up just slightly, now I can go back over and heat up my embossing powder. I have run my paper through and I have cut it out in the flag shape, and now I'm using the Lakeshore inks and an ink blending tool, and I'll go ahead and start coloring this, and I'm going to go ahead and use the regular swirling motions to go ahead and blend this in really nicely. I don't want to leave any marks on the paper, and I want to make sure that I get really good coverage on this, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep tapping into my ink and using that craft sheet as kind of a starting point to start pulling that color into the paper. So once I have the edges done pretty well, I'm going to go ahead and go back into the center and make sure that it's colored really well. And now I can go ahead and start mounting everything up onto my card. I've used the Simon Says Stamp hydrangea die and I've cut out some white flowers and I scattered those to the right side of my card, kind of in and around my message. And I've pulled out a mixture of some of my enamel dots from my stash and put those into the flower centers. Everything is really clean and simple with a really nice background. So I hope I've given you some inspiration on how to use your Simon Says Stamp brand inks along with a little bit of alcohol to create a custom background for your card making. Be sure to check the description box below where I've left a link to our blog post where I have a color coordinates recipe for this color combination. Thanks so much for watching.